Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brooke Berry, the Director of Communications and Marketing for the City of Indio, and we're trying something new in the city called Introducing Indio. Every week at 2:30 on Tuesdays, we'll meet someone else from the city, people who may seem behind the scenes to you, but are truly integral in what they do. And today, our very first guest of our inaugural edition is Gil Estrada. He is our Chief Building Official. Hi, Gil.
Hi there.
Thanks so much for agreeing to be part of Introducing India. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully it will be such a success that you will come on and be a repeat guest for us.
Well, that would be nice.
Let's talk a little bit about you, how you came to the city of Indio. You're about to celebrate 1 year here in the City of Festivals. You've worked all over Southern California, including Palm Springs, but let you tell us.
You're absolutely right. I started working here a year ago this month, so I'll be celebrating my 1-year anniversary. Before coming here, I was working for the City of Palm Springs, where I actually completed a 1-year anniversary there too. Now, that doesn't mean that I'll be leaving anytime soon. I plan on retiring from the city. But before working for the City of Palm Springs, I worked for the City of Fontana in the Inland Empire. I was actually with Fontana for about 13 years. I worked with the City of Ontario for about 8 years, worked for the County of San Bernardino for 4 years, and I worked for the City of Cathedral City also for 7 years, from 2005 to 2012. So I have been around the block.
When you first came on as the chief building official for the city, I have to admit, since I was somewhat new to my own position, I had to Google what is a chief building official. So for those who are watching at home right now, maybe on a mobile device, according to the latest Google search, it is a management position that administers plan check duties, provides building inspections, and functions as a neighborhood preservation manager. What does that mean for the normal person? Because your job duties and your functions within Indio are pretty extensive.
And that's true. It's there's always something new. Even though we do kind of the same thing day in and day out, just when you thought that you had seen or heard it all, something else comes into play. So there's always something new. The position of the chief building official does cover what you mentioned, doing plan review or overseeing the plan review functions of the city, which means that an architect or an engineer or a designer submits a plan. We review it to make sure that it meets all the applicable local, state, federal laws or codes. We approve it once we see that it's met all of that. The whole idea about inspections, making sure that once a permit is issued, that we go out and do all the inspections from the beginning to the end, and also working with our permit technicians who have the hard job of taking in the plans, issuing the permits, answering a whole bunch of questions, a lot of questions that don't even relate to building safety for whatever reason. We get a lot of questions about other things. And everything that goes with working in an office, filing, managing the paperwork, the permits, the plans, because there's a lot of state laws too that apply that we have to follow, in addition to federal laws and so forth. So yes, there's quite a bit that I think a lot of people really aren't aware of.
Let's show everyone who's watching right now a little video that some of your building inspectors put together in May for Building and Safety Month. And this is a month that week by week celebrates and recognizes what some of the folks within your division do, talks about the safety of what they do and why it's so important. So stand by and let's take a look at this video here.
Here at Indio, we continually strive to make our community safe.
The City of Indio Building and Safety Division takes pride in working with our construction partners on any project, big and small.
As a building inspector here in the city of Indio, we check all items throughout your home to make sure that they meet code compliance.
We here at the City of Indio are working hard with our developers to make sure your homes are safe, and we continue supporting economic growth in the Coachella Valley.
So Gil, as you were watching that, I could see you. No one else could, but I could see you, and you were smiling as you were watching this.
It's a good video.
Yeah, you're so proud of the building inspectors in the city, and I think that they did a great job there of showcasing what they do and how it touches so many different components within the city: safety, economic development.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. One of the slogans that we have is that if we know things are okay when we don't hear anything, something to that effect, I mean, kind of like no news is good news.
Yes.
So kind of if we're not hearing any complaints about something let's just say it's a tract development, then that means that hopefully we were all doing our job. Our inspectors were doing their job. The plans examiners were doing their job. And everybody on the private side too, the engineers, the architects, the contractors. I mean, there's so many people that are involved with the construction of any project for that matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's important to know. If we're hearing about it, it's because something may have gone wrong. I think what we've talked about in preparation for this live broadcast, I guess, right now are some of the most frequently asked questions that you get, and how you can tell people about the importance of what you do. Because I think, you hear sometimes in government, so much red tape, so much bureaucracy, all these permits that need to be pulled, all these plans. So what is really importance of getting permits for work before you go ahead and take on a project, either at home or on a commercial level?
Well, I'll tell you what, and this comes from I'm going on 34 years of experience working for building and safety. I taught at the community college for 19 years for construction inspection technology. My father was a carpenter and a finished carpenter, cabinet maker, and so forth. So going back to, when I was a child, basically, I mean, it's important to know that the buildings that we go into are safe. And so the main reason why we want people to get permits is to make sure that whatever it is that they're doing is safe, that they have an inspector that's going and verifying that whatever the contractor or the homeowner is doing is done properly. We have all these codes. There's a whole lot of codes. And I understand. I empathize with the homeowners or the contractors, developers who say, gee, it's just, as you mentioned, so much red tape that we have to go through. But unfortunately, that's the environment that we live in. It's very litigious out there. And so we need to make sure that things are being done properly. I mean, and it could be the simplest things as having a footing or a foundation for the structure, whether it's a patio cover or a full-size house or whatever the case. Because I can tell you in my experience that sometimes some of these things get built and there is no foundation. It's just on a slab. That slab isn't designed to hold up all that weight from that structure above it. So, again, a lot of us don't think about a lot of these other things that go in or come into play. And so again, it's just our duty, our strive to make sure that things are being done right for everybody's safety. That's the number one thing. Brooke, I'm sorry, but I'm not hearing you.
Oh, thank you for being my technical help there. As I mute myself while I type, I need to unmute again. It's as if I've never done this before. So, Gil, one thing that I wanted to mention, since you were talking about, kind of safety, is when our building inspectors get called out to instance sort of after the fact. So when you have a fire, for example, one that recently happened in downtown Indio, unfortunately, which burned down the old Desert Theater, some of our building and safety inspectors had to go out to the scene and determine how safe is this area to be near? Is this building salvageable? And they work hand in hand with some of the members of the fire department in order to, make sure that area is safe for people. What is an appropriate distance for people to be away from that area? So kind of a real world example of how that works.
Right, and that's one of those things, right? Is it safe for anybody to go into that building? Because if it isn't, then we need to put the caution tape up, and so that nobody can come in there. We also have what we call placards. They're green, yellow, and red. If the building definitely cannot be entered, then we'll put up a red placard indicating that no entrance is allowed. If there's limited entrance or entry, then we'll put up a yellow placard, which means that, okay, you can go in to retrieve certain items, but that's it. If it's a green, then that means, yeah, you're good to go. Or it may be you're okay to enter certain areas, but stay away from some other areas. So yes, that's something that we definitely look at. And, do we need to cut the power? Do we need to turn off the gas? I mean, all those types of things that is of concern. Absolutely.
Gil, because we have a couple of people giving comments right now, before they, get tired of waiting for them, let me bring one up here. This is from Julian Garcia asking about Dutch Brothers Coffee. So if this is a question, hey, you're not prepared to answer, these are some tough questions. You just say, hey, let me research it and get back to you. But I think I know the answer to this one, which is they're talking about the Indio's Dutch Brother Coffee and, what's going on with that. And as far as I know, and I checked right before this broadcast, they were supposed to start groundbreaking yesterday, I believe. Do you know if everything's still on track?
As far as I know, it's on track. They do have their permits, so it should be coming along fairly quickly. I've driven by the one that's off of Jefferson and Fred Waring a few times, and they've got a line just apparently they're very popular. And I imagine this one's going to be the same.
Well, if you're not familiar with what we're talking about here, we're talking about the Dutch Brothers Coffee that's planned for Highway 111 and Las Palmas. There's a big parking lot area there too, but hopefully, we can alleviate some of the traffic that's happening at that other location.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Gil, I know that speaking of coffee, there's a couple new Starbucks with plans in the works too. I think two right now, one off of Golf Center and the other one also off of Jefferson.
That's correct. Yep. That is a Shandi project, and that's the one off Golf Center Way is Golf Center Parkway is underway. It's being constructed now. The other one should be coming fairly soon.
I have to say, from my perspective, that is among one of the most frequently asked questions with regard to building and planning is, what is this project that I'm seeing happening somewhere else? Before it has any signage, they want to know what's there.
Well, what's kind of amazing, and I would imagine that maybe our residents or visitors to our city see it. For us being in the pandemic that we're in, you would think that things would be fairly slow, but they're not. We continue to build here in the city of Indio, residential, commercial, it's still going on. One of the problems that the builders are telling us that they are having, though, is getting supplies. So there is a shortage of supplies, or at least receiving those materials, which means that they're building probably all over California, I'm sure, or at least in Southern California.
Yeah, if you're one of the many people that's waiting for some furniture to be delivered and you keep getting that date pushed back and back and back, you know exactly what Gil is talking about, even if you're not someone who's waiting to move into a new home. Let's take a brief break really quickly here so that we can have other people join us, and we will be back in just one moment. All right. Thanks, everyone. This is Introducing Indio. It's a new broadcast that we've started here. We're going to be holding it on Tuesdays at 2:30 p.m. And our first guest is Gil Estrada, the Chief Building Official for the City of Indio. And Gil, thanks again for joining us for this special and very first edition. We were talking about some of the most frequently asked questions that we both receive. Me, as the communications and marketing director, and you as the chief building official. And I have to say, a lot of the time, you have the answers to the questions that I'm getting. So when I get them, I send them off to you, and you answer them for me. We talked a little bit, and I put in the chat there for people who are watching some information about that our residents can learn more about. We have the what you're going to probably call CalBO.
Oh, okay.
CalBO, CALBO, California Building Officials website. So what could people go if they went there?
Well, if they go to the CalBO website, they can find information that's relevant to the state of California. That website is meant more for people that work in building and safety, but anyone that has any interest, if especially if like you're a designer, engineer, architect, contractor, that's a good website to go and look up information relevant to what we do, to the building codes and plumbing codes, mechanical codes, etc.
And Gil, we also talked about some of the most frequently asked questions that I get. Now, you could go to that website, you could learn something about it, but when people are looking about building or making changes to their property, either commercial or residential here in Indio, there are a number of resources available on our own website, indio.org. And since the pandemic, some efforts that we had already kind of started putting in place really sped up with regard to virtual inspections and other services that could be done remotely. So what can't you do via our website or remotely right now? Hardly anything.
What can't you do? You can pretty much do whatever it is you have to do. I mean, most people are not coming into City Hall to take care of any business relative to building and safety. So either it's by way of submitting electronically online, getting their permits virtually online, submitting their plans electronically. Everything is pretty much happening online. We do offer, though, appointment only. So if someone, for whatever reason, is having a difficult time doing things through the computer, they can always call or email us, set up an appointment to come in and talk to us, and we'd be more than happy to meet with them. We prefer to do everything virtually because of the pandemic that we're in, but we still don't mind seeing everybody's smiling faces too across the counter from us. So long as we maintain the 6 feet and make sure everybody's doing well, all those things that we're supposed to be doing.
I was trying to show here some of the pictures of development that are happening in this city right now to show you, those who are watching at home, the projects that have been underway throughout the pandemic that have been able to be accomplished through these virtual inspections.
So as far as we do virtual inspections, if need be, we in a case like this where we're out in the open, then we will do that inspection there in person, of course. So any inspection where we don't have to come in contact with other individuals, or if we're outside and we can maintain that 6 foot separation, we have our mask on and so forth, we're okay with that. The virtual inspection would apply where we actually need to go within a building that the residents are living inside of. So in that case, we prefer not to go inside, and we prefer to do a virtual inspection. But let's just say someone was doing an addition to the rear of the house. If we could go do the inspections from the outside and not have to go through the house, then that's fine. We can do that. If someone does want to do a virtual inspection, if they go to our website, they can find the information there on what to do, how to do it. Basically, they're contacting Ruben Franz. He's our building inspector supervisor. He verifies that the project is of the type that warrants a virtual inspection, and then he'll make the arrangements for either himself or one of our other inspectors to do that virtual inspection. And basically, it's using a program or an app that we call LifeSize, or using FaceTime, something like that. It's a pretty simple process, actually.
We've also had to outfit the building inspectors' vehicles a little bit in order to accommodate this. And in some ways, it makes their job more time efficient because they don't always have to go back to print things out. There's less paper involved, which I think everyone appreciates.
Absolutely. Yes. And, these are some of the things that we've done during this COVID-19 crisis, this pandemic, are things that we wanted to do. I think a lot of building departments have wanted to do for some time. With this pandemic, it was now not something that we're going to get to, but something that we had to do now. So it forced us to do things that we were planning on doing eventually to do now. And so, as you mentioned, one of those things was to have our mobile offices. So we see one of the inspectors' trucks in the background. That truck is set up with everything. It's got its laptop. It's got its printer coming soon. It's all set up. It's got its Wi-Fi or MiFi. So they can basically work out of that mobile office, which is their truck. They, in essence, really don't even need to come back into their brick and mortar office, so to speak. So yes, and so that definitely makes them much more efficient, much more effective. Absolutely.
We saw there some of our permit technicians. Also, this is your team of building inspectors. And when you told me how many inspections they do a day, I was blown away.
They're busy. Yes, they have a lot of work. They, on average, they're probably doing at least 30 inspections a day. That equates to at least 15 stops a day. So that means that they're going to be stopping at 15 different sites, and it varies. If you're working on a tract, everything's there. So the inspector can do more inspections because they don't have to get in their vehicle and drive, somewhere else. So yeah, it varies, but definitely we could use another inspector. Absolutely.
Well, considering that Indio is the largest, the most populous city, they do a lot. We have another question here. Again, not to put you on the spot, but we've got one person who's watching on Facebook who's got some questions about development, which is the new 7-Eleven on Golf Center, and that's the area that we've talked about. We'll have the Starbucks eventually.
This one is a little south of the Starbucks.
Okay.
So this one is off of, I'm trying to remember the street there. It's right on the corner. It's the northwest corner of Golf Center Parkway, and I forget the other street. But that one did start construction. The fence is up. They've done some of the site work. And for whatever reason, they've kind of come to a halt. So they haven't been doing a whole lot lately. That happens sometimes. I don't know if it's, again, has something to do with the ordering of materials, something to do with the financing. I mean, something happens. Could be, who knows? But it's happening. It's just stalled right now, from what I can tell.
Julian is also applauding our work on the new Del Taco. I think I would buy that one. That's on Jefferson and Avenue 42.
Yeah.
And yes, a new, they hope that they build one on Jackson. But we've got a new Chipotle there, which I know you have gone to.
Me or Julian?
No.
I have not gone to the new Chipotle myself.
Oh, right.
My daughter has. Pardon me?
You went to the new Arby's.
I went to the new Arby's, yes. But one of my daughters did go to the new Chipotle. She lives out there in Desert Trace, and she said it was good. The service was good and everything else. So
Yeah, that one you order completely, on your phone. You can't order there. So I'm sure people are getting used to it. But in the
Yeah,
pandemic, I'm sure it's with people wanting contactless. That's a good thing too. Gil,
yeah.
before we sort of wrap everything up, I'm gonna play that video one more time, created by a building inspectors. But what else do you want people to know about your role within the city and sort of feedback that you get from people about the importance of your job?
So here's what I want uh, anyone who's viewing now or will view in the future, anyone who shares information with other people about the building and safety department or division, is that we truly are here to help. We really want people to come in and get their permits for whatever it is they're doing for a number of reasons. The first reason being, as I mentioned earlier, for the safety of the users of that building, for the parents, the grandparents, the kids, etc. Want to make sure that the electrical is done right, the sanitation is done right, the water is done right. All of these things that really could cause some problems if it's not done properly. That's the first thing. The second thing that happens often is someone might do an illegal room addition, let's just say. They don't come and they don't get the permits for a number of reasons. But then when they want to sell the property, now they have some challenges. They can't sell it for the true value because it was unpermitted. They want to come to us now because they're in escrow and they want to hurry up and get a permit, but it takes a process, a plan submittal, and so forth. In the end, not just because I'm the building official and because I've been doing this for so long, it really is the right thing to do. Come and get a permit. It might take a little bit longer before you get that permit, but it's all going to be much more helpful in the long run. In the end, you're going to be glad that you did it. The other thing too is sometimes insurance companies, if somebody's done something illegally or without permits, something goes wrong in that addition, let's just say, a lot of times insurance company isn't going to pay for it because it wasn't permitted. So again, the best thing for anybody to do is to contact us if they want to do an addition, if they want to build something brand new from the ground up, if they want to do a patio cover, a swimming pool, whatever the case, talk to us first and we will do our best to help you get through the process. Try to make it as simple as possible, as painless as possible. In reality, in truth, in sincerity, we are here to help.
I like that a lot, Gil. People think that the money that they're paying for a permit is maybe too expensive. If you're working on a project, you're saving to do the project, not necessarily to do the permit, but it might end up saving you money down the line. And it's a bit of an insurance policy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just the right thing to do.
Says the chief building official.
Well, it's funny because as an instructor at the community college, sometimes the students would even ask me, well, Gil, you know what you're doing, you know what the codes require. Would you get a permit? It's like, yeah, I got permits for all the work that I've done at my house. I would be a hypocrite if I didn't do it, if I were asking everybody else to go and get a permit, and yet I wasn't doing it. So no, yes. And yes, I can do a lot of that work, but I'd rather hire the experts that do that day in and day out and have them do it. And that's another thing that you just made me think about. Contractors, using licensed contractors. All too often, people will go and they'll find a friend of a friend of a friend, pay them some money, and then that person doesn't finish the job, takes their money, and then they're coming to us asking us, hey, this guy took my money, but he didn't finish the project. Or maybe he just even started it. What do I do now? Unfortunately, that's more of a civil matter. But what I was going to say, we have here in the state of California, the Contractor State Licensing Board. Before you hire this contractor, supposed contractor, you should go to their website and verify that the person is in good standing. So that's just one of those things that pops up every once in a while.
Well, we have some of the websites that you have recommended to folks who might be interested here in the comments section, and we're showing them down on the bottom right now, but you can just go to the Facebook page at another time. We're also streaming live on YouTube, and click on those comments. And Gil, this is all straight from Gil. Here are some of the most useful websites that you can get to get some of these building answers, building questions answered. So, Gil, thank you so much, the city's chief building official. We appreciate you being our very first guest on Introducing Indio, and we'd love for people to hear from people. If you have additional questions for Gil or for the city, you can just leave them here in the comments, and maybe we'll have you on a little bit later. As we kind of progress through this, and we can see the updates to some of these projects that we've been talking about.
Sounds great.
For sure, we have a date in May for Building and Safety Month. How's that?
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to leave everyone with this incredible video put together from some of the city's building inspectors. And just a quick plug for our broadcast next Tuesday at 2:30, which will be with Terry Sechin, who works in our Public Works Department. So details on that coming up after this video. I hope everyone has a terrific day.
Here at Indio, we continually strive to make our community safe.
The City of Indio Building and Safety Division takes pride in working with our construction partners on any project, big and small.
As a building inspector here in the city of Indio, we check all items throughout your home to make sure that they meet code compliance.
We here at the City of Indio are working hard with our developers to make sure your homes are safe, and we continue supporting economic growth in the Coachella Valley.
All right, Gil, thanks so much for your patience. And for everyone who's watching Introducing India, we appreciate it, and we will talk to you later.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.